Good evening and welcome to the FITT Show. Financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby P. Kinsler,
And I'm Thomas Doty.
and we are the FITT Show, helping our folks get their finances in shape. So glad for you all to join us another Thursday. Today is August the 17th, and so glad for you all to join us around the country and around the world. We have a lot of good, interesting information for you pertaining to how to increase your wealth and to take control of your finances. Like we always start off with every week, we'd like for you to click on the like button and the heart button. That helps, gives us more access to more people. That's how it works on Facebook. And the more comments you put down in the bottom, to the comment box, that also helps us get more exposure to more people. So, and just don't put things, if you have some comments on what we're talking about, or your opinion on what we talked about, or if you have a topic that you'd like for us to talk about in the future shows, please put it in the comment box. Because we definitely read it, and that's our way of interacting with you. So please use the comment box as much as you can. How are you doing, Thomas Doty?
Man, I'm in Pompano Beach, Florida. It's in living life, man.
Man, wait a minute. What, last week you were in Martha's Vineyard?
Yeah,
And then the week before that you were in Jersey?
yeah.
Man, you're a traveling man, boy.
I'm the opposite of a snow bunny. I try to stay up north in the summertime and in the south in the winter.
Yeah, that's a smart move. I don't think that's a bad idea at all. Godly. So dope. Now I know you're gonna give us some good news about our topic that we start at the top of every show, which is of interest to so many people. So what's the good news you got about the stock market, though?
Man, I wish I had some good news. The funny thing is that there are a lot of good indicators out there, which is really crazy. But the economy is just so strong right now that it keeps pushing a lot of the long-term interest rates up. The like mortgage rates are up over 7%. The long-term T-bill rates are as high as they've been since like '08, when during the financial crisis. So all those things are putting pressure on the stock market because people are kind of thinking that the Fed is going to have to continue to raise interest rates, which makes the borrowing cost higher corporations, which kind of keeps things tempered down. So there's some strong indicators in the market. People are now thinking they're more optimistic that there won't be a recession. But and again, you got to remember the first 6 months of this year, actually the first 7 months of this year, were going at a breakneck speed. The market was going like crazy. So it's not surprising that a breather's happening, and then you add in the fact that the long-term interest rates are going up. And so it's where we are. And you can see the Dow is down 700 points for the week. They've had 3 losing days in a row.
Whoa.
Nasdaq's down a little bit more at 400, almost 3%. And the stocks I follow, Microsoft's down, Tesla's down big time. Tesla is going through a little transition period with the price cuts and the increased competition. So their stock is down a nice little bit. Apple's down slightly, Pfizer's up, and Nvidia's it's still up. It had taken a big hit, but then it came back strong. Everybody is still extremely bullish on Nvidia. I think every day some analyst is increasing its price target. One guy came out today and said that stock could go to 800 because they pretty much monopolize the equipment needed for AI. So they're in a pretty good spot. I still expect that to continue to go. But this market's going to be shaky for a while. We got to see what the Fed's going to do next time. We got to see if interest rates start to trickle down. But the long-term rates jumped, and that's what's created this little 3-day losing streak in the market. So wish I had more good news, but the good news I do have is that there is more optimism that there will not be a recession, which is always good news.
Yeah, well, like they say, if you survive many storms, so don't be bothered by the raindrops. Hello. But it is dope to see our economy because the GDP, the gross domestic product, which is the indicator of how the economy is doing, it's like the goods and services of that is sold and the money that is made and paid. Um, it's getting ready at the third quarter. They're talking about it's going to be around 6%. Now annualized is something like 2%. Normally 3% and up is really great. So it's really weird, like you say. The market is down, but yet there's some good indicators. Unemployment is down, but wages is up.
Yeah,
You
it's bad. And that's a good sign that wages are now surpassing inflation, which wasn't the case before. But for every good news, there's something negative too. So it's kind of a mixed bag right now. You just got to hang strong through this stuff.
yeah, yeah. Like we say, it's always about the long play. And dope, bad news. The cryptocurrency market is taking a beating again, man. The total market cap. This is the first time I've seen it go down below to even $1 trillion. It was staying like about 1.2. It lost about 126 billion. That's about 10% of the market. The Bitcoin dropped $2,665 per Bitcoin. That's about 9%. It was 29,448. Now it's 26,783. Now, if it was a year ago or so, a year ago, year and a half, it was down to 16. So some people are still doing good, but it's taking a beating. As you can see, Ethereum, which is the smart contracts, that's down 9% to $1,675 per Ethereum cryptocurrency. Though Dogecoin was at 8, it'll drop down to 10, and it's about a 14% drop. And Shiba Inu, Shiba is staying at 15, but it's down again, taking the beating. And so it's significant. I mean, to calculate the actual percentage change, but it is down. It goes up. It was up as far as like 7 uh, points one day during the week. Then all of a sudden it dropped down. But it's that I'm not bullish on CBNU, but I'm keeping it on there though until it totally falls off. But that's the cryptocurrency market though. Nothing good there, But one good thing though, gold is up. If you're in the commodities and silver, gold is definitely up. It's back up to it went down below $2,000 per ounce, but it's around about 1,900 and some change. So if you got gold, at least you're hanging in there. Just want to let people know that. Hey, dope. We
Yo,
have an interesting show this week. A lot of people, they asked me about it, right? Because they said, "Well, Bob, have you talked about scams? We never did a full show, I think, on scams, but we talked about, every day there's new scams. Every day there's some crooked person out there trying to steal your information, your financial information in particular." What do you feel about that, dope?
man, it's out there. People are working full time. They're getting more creative. There's more information out there. There's more ways to do it. AI is going to make it even easier. And I just feel you can never stop learning or talking about the best ways to take care of your personal information and your money, because there are people trying very, very hard to steal it. The number of fraud cases was down year over year, but the amount of money stolen was up. I mean, it's up to $8.8 billion, and it was only 6.1 billion in 2021. And
Woo.
fine, that's what's reported. A lot of money, a lot of people, one,
Yeah.
don't realize
Yep.
they lost money, or they're too embarrassed to admit that they've lost money. So the most prevalent scams are those dealing with investments. Imposter scams are the second most followed by online shopping scams. So to summarize it, to help you stay safe, there's three basic guidelines. Try to keep all your personal information private on social media. You know, use privacy settings so everybody in the world can't see your posts. You shouldn't put your birthday out there. That's just one more piece of information that a fraudster can have if they have your birthday. If it seems fishy, stop. It probably is. You know, wait until your emotions have settled and then research what's going on. Nobody's going to give you any money for nothing, okay? And you probably don't owe, if they say you owe some money, you probably don't owe it if you don't get a regular bill. And a lot of times fraudsters will use tight deadlines and they'll say you got to have it a decision by X amount of time. So ignore that. Don't give your password or passcode to anybody anytime ever. You know, if you get a number and a message and they're asking for your personal information, if it's a credit card company, call the number on the back of the credit card. If it's Medicare, call the number on the Medicare card. You know, you get an email, don't click that link on an email unless it's from somebody that you know, and you have to even take it a step further because it could appear to be somebody that you know, but it's really not. So take the time. If somebody sends you a file with a link, send them a text. Say, hey, did you just send me a text regarding XYZ? Just to be sure, because now people can copy, they can make it look like it came from somebody you know. And so you get it, you think it's from somebody you know, you click the link, boom, you've got a virus on your computer, or they have access to your computer or something like that. So you got to be very careful. If in doubt, call the headquarters on a number that you know to be good.
Hey, no, when in doubt, this is something that people don't know. You could do an internet search for the company or organization involved, followed by the word scam. And if they've been out there scammed and been reported, it'll come up on an internet search, especially on the Google search. Now, remember that request for payment in cryptocurrency, gift cards, bank wires are red flags for scams. Now, if you think you've been a victim of ID theft, report it to the Federal Trade Commission, FTC. It's ftc.gov, and potentially affected account institutions. But you can put a freeze on your credit files if you don't plan to borrow money soon, or place a fraud alert on your credit reports. The freeze prevents any new credit from being approved, but you can freeze or unfreeze your credit. We're going to talk about that in a minute, temporarily while applying for new credit. Now, the fraud alert notifies lenders and creditors that you should take extra steps to verify your identity before extending credit. Now, you know, you should always, if you feel that you have identity theft, especially credit fraud, anything like that, you know, request a fraud alert or a credit freeze. I mean, and that you can do that for free. And one of the and here are the numbers for each of the three major credit bureaus. Now, there are more credit bureaus than that your information is reported to, but these are usually the three major credit bureaus that vendors get your information from. You got Equifax, their numbers there, Experian, and TransUnion. Whenever you think you have fraud, the one key way, this is the thing, you all, you can't really stop people. But the name of the game is trying to stay on top of it and protect it. And when something like that happens, you know, you get on it quick. And the most quick way to do it is report it. Like Dote said, most people, believe it or not, don't report it. You know, and that's why, but one of the key things against it is reporting it. Once we get it out there, then when you contact people like FTC, they can jump on it because if they've heard about it or they've got it from you. Now, we're going to get into a few more areas of scams that has occurred. Some you may know, but some of them you probably don't even have a clue about. And the reason why we're talking about them this week, because it could be the difference of your protecting your finances, you all. And let me tell you, Dope is getting ready to talk about a major one that scared the daylights out of me.
Yeah, it's a new one, Bob, and I had never heard of this, and it's kind of crazy because in my work career, I told you I moved like 10 times, and so bought and sold a whole lot of houses, and I always wondered how you always had to do that title search, and that was always the most expensive closing cost. Now my company always paid it, but I always saw that big charge. And what's going on now is something called a deed theft. And the scheme worked like this. The fraudsters pick out a house, could be a second home, it could be a rental, a vacation home, or a vacant house. And they basically steal that house. They use your personal information that they get from the internet or somewhere else. They assume your identity or claim to represent you, and armed with forged signatures and fake IDs, they file paperwork with the county's register of deeds to transfer ownership of your property to themselves. And that's kind of crazy, or to a third property. They then sell the home or borrow against the home, stealing your equity. And when they fail to make payments on a loan secured by your property, you could end up in foreclosure, or you can't, or you in a situation where you can't sell the house or refinance it, or pass the home on to your heirs. So that's a new one, and that one's kind of tricky. Okay.
Deed theft.
Yep.
So now we want to talk about how you can protect your property from deed theft. Now look for deeds that you or your attorney didn't prepare or sign, or loans you didn't take out, as well as liens of contractors, subcontractors, real estate brokers, or attorneys whose services you didn't hire. I mean, this is crazy. They put all that stuff on you. Or court filings, especially they says in Montgomery County, in where I live, Prince George's County, record of deeds. You can check that out. You stop. And these are some signs that your deed has been tampered with or been stolen. You start receiving your water bill or property tax assessment or bill, utility bills on a vacant property rise suddenly, or you find people who live in there. That's an easy one. You start receiving tenants' rent payments and learn that they've been making the payments to another person in the location. You see payment books or other information from a lender whom you haven't done business with. You find yourself in a default on a loan or notified of a foreclosure proceeding. And another sign, clear-cut sign, is there are a number of companies offering monitoring service, but you can protect yourself, for free by periodically checking your property record on the website of your county's register of deeds. How many people don't you think actually do something like that? I don't think they do.
Not many. And it may seem like, well, Dote and Bob are just giving us more stuff to do, but things are getting more complicated in how they steal stuff. And so you've got to be more, what's the word for thinking ahead or acting ahead or looking ahead? I can't think of the right word, Bob. More, I'm having a senior moment, but you got to prepare for what may happen. Okay. You got to look in advance. And so what Bob's recommending is what you need to do to make, and it'll take you 2 minutes to do that.
Be proactive.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Thanks.
Right.
It's always my back. But that's you got to be proactive, because with this internet world and so many things being online, you have to be proactive and make sure nobody's stealing your stuff. It's almost too easy to do. And
Right.
we're about what some municipalities are doing, but not all of them are doing that. And you have to take care and stay on top of your money. I mean,
And though once it's happened, you know what I mean, it's kind of too late if it's been out there for a while. I mean, you can go back, but you're going to be, pulling your hair out, and it's really difficult to get your property back. But though, I just want to give a few more tips to all homeowners, right? And it's beware of guarantees or promises from companies or individuals that guarantee or promise that you will receive a loan modification or any other outcome with your mortgage. Like legitimate organization individuals can only promise to work hard for you. They cannot guarantee no results. That's a tip. Another one is just two more. Avoid paying upfront fees. It's an upfront fees. It's almost always illegal to ask for upfront fees for a loan modification. If you ask to pay for services upfront, be suspicious. And lastly, never transfer ownership of your property. Never turn over your deed or transfer ownership of your home to a mortgage assistance company. A trustworthy organization or individual will never ask you to transfer your property rights to them. So there's just a couple of tips on deed theft.
But let's run through some other scams that are out there, and we're seeing a lot of activity on, Bob. And the first one is an imposter or remote access scam. And you get a call alerting you to a problem with your computer, or a message pops on your screen saying your computer is infected with a virus. And if you follow the instructions of the caller or the screen message, your computer is going to be taken hostage and your personal information stolen. So it's not going to happen where your computer just becomes, something tells you it's infected. Know right then that it's a fraud. And so they'll ask you for a fee. They basically take it, and they take it hostage. They ask you for a fee to restore access to your computer data. And I think that happened to a municipality, I believe it was Virginia, but I may not have that correct. But these basic thieves hijacked the system, and they made them pay a ransom to get their system back. So if you see that pop up on your screen, know you're in trouble at that point. Or if you get a call from someone claiming to be from Fidelity or some other service provider, and they request that you read them back a one-time passcode that the criminal has generated through fraudulent web activity, like a password reset, and then they can reset your password and they have access to your account. So again, if you work with, let's say, Charles Schwab, and you get a message from Charles Schwab saying something is wrong with your account, immediately hang up and call a number that you know to be Charles Schwab. Either get it from your account statement or get it from your something that you have that clearly shows you that it's really Charles Schwab you're calling. Don't give information like that over the phone.
So you're going to see with each one of these scams that we talk about, we also are going to give you a way to protect yourself against them. And one for this one is prevention is the best medicine. So don't click pop-up ads or attachments for unknown senders, right? Avoid clicking links in emails. It's so easy to do because we do it all the time, but you got to slow down and really read the emails. Visit known websites by manually typing the URLs in the browser yourself. Don't let them automatically populate the browsers and you click on them. Don't ever do that. No reputable institution will ever call you and request remote computer access. You get a call requesting this, hang up immediately. And the reason why we're talking about, because I know people who experience these exact scams. I know people personally. Now, scammer will typically ask you not to tell anyone about the incident or conversation. That's another giveaway. And another way to protect yourself, if you receive a pop-up warning on your computer, do not call the number. Real security warnings never ask you to call a phone number. And I want to give you another tip. I was getting, I have Norton as my computer protection, right? And it said I need to renew, it popped up. I need to renew my, and I'm like, dang, I could have swore I just did that. If you see an email, click on the email link and see, because they may have the logo from the company, but when you click on the email link, it'll show you the email address, and there'll be some wild character numbers or personal name. That's another giveaway. Click on that email address, and you can see, even though you see a logo that looks like a company logo, click on it, and you can see that that's really a person. That's how you can identify a scammer.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say again, don't ever allow anyone to control your computer remotely, and never give your password and security codes to anyone on the phone. You know, if you contact a verified source, like I've called Apple, and they've asked for access to my computer, and I've given it to them. But the big difference is I called Apple, so I know they're legit. So if you think you have your computer has a problem, then update your security software and run a scan. You know, if you're seeking technical support, go to a company that you know and trust. And this is one I know most people don't do, but they need to back up your data regularly. That way you can
Yes.
boot and regain control of your computer by cleaning your hard drive and reinstalling your operating system. And if you have an account with a brokerage firm, find out what they offer to help you protect your information. And I think I've told you, I have a couple of brokerage accounts with Fidelity. And one of those, I don't allow any transactions. Okay, no money can be taken out of that account. And that's the one that I keep most of the money in, because obviously that's the one I want to make sure it is safe. And the one I use for my day-to-day transactions, I try to keep that account balance fairly low. So if it is hacked, then the damage will be minimal. And you should always have two-factor authentication on your important accounts. It's an extra
Right.
step, huh? Yeah, it's
I said, right. A lot of people that don't like to go through the extra of doing that, don't taking the time, but I'm telling you,
an
it
extra
works.
step, but it's worth it. It's worth it. So take the time to do it. Again, it seems like we're giving you more to do, but the stakes are getting higher and people are getting better at stealing your money. So try to get out of it, and it's going to take some more effort on your part to keep yourself protected.
So I just want to add, when you say back up your data, and that means not just backing your information up in the iCloud. I myself, within, I do it usually about 3 to 6 months. I actually back my data and information I have on my computer. I'm talking about the whole computer, because it could do it overnight on an external drive. And usually it's a terabyte, because a terabyte can almost hold any amount of information. But I actually back it up because there's so many. My computer had a Trojan in it before, and it shut me down. So don't take that lightly about backing it up your computer, especially on an external drive. Hey, Doug, you heard about the confidence romance scams? I
I've
mean,
heard.
and I knew people who what they call it, catfish. Didn't know it was a real person. Now, individuals believe that they are in a relationship, they get catfish. I've seen that happen to the guy, a football player. Man, he thought he was really falling in love with this girl online. It wasn't even a girl. Same thing happened at Townsend State, though, believe it or not, where Juan Dixon, that he's played with Maryland, they had a big incident with his team and his coach. But, just remember, they can be persuaded to send money, personal and financial information, or items of value to the perpetrator. And this includes the grandparent scam. I know y'all have heard of grandparent scam, because I even had somebody call me and try that, talking about, this is a granddaughter. I'm like, what? She's only 9 years old. But anyway, and when someone calls claiming to be your grandchild and asks you to send money immediately or for an emergency, I even had my boss. I got a text from my boss, though, said in his name, said he was in the Bahamas, and he lost his wallet, and that came through on my phone. So so be aware of these schemes, y'all. Perpetrator plays on the victim's heartstring. Now, though, can you believe in 2022, to prove to our point, you may say, "Oh, it won't happen to me." 70,000 individuals reported that they were involved in a romance scam, and losses totaling 1.3 billion. So don't ever say never. It can't be me.
Those are the ones who admitted it happened. I'm telling you, it's probably double. It's probably
Right,
double. And
right.
Hey guys, and the things we're telling you, you may say, oh, okay, I know this, I'm good. But I'm sure you know someone who may not be as computer literate as you are that you can pass this information on to, or you can watch out for them, or you can mention to them some of the big points that we're mentioning to make sure it doesn't happen to them. Because I'm telling you, it's happening to people every day. And if you aren't computer literate, it's much more likely to happen. And I'm sure you know people who are not. So give them some warnings, uh, you know, tell them to go listen to this show. And a lot of times it's hard if you're not computer literate to understand how vulnerable your information is or how sophisticated the fraudsters are. So try to pass this information on to people. And in these romance scams, just don't send money to somebody. If you
Right.
haven't met them in person, you don't send, and usually they don't ask for money, Bob. They usually want gift cards. That's another telltale sign because they're untraceable. And
Right.
so, beware of those warning signs when they fall in love quickly. They just met you and they talk about how wonderful you are. And all your life, ain't nobody told you how wonderful you are that quick. So you
All of a sudden, right.
know it's a scam. And so they'll try to isolate you from your family and friends and focus on the money. And they always claim to be working or living far away or they're in the service and they're lonely. So, take it slowly, ask the questions, look for inconsistent answers, and try to make them show you a live picture, like make them FaceTime or something like that. And try to talk to somebody who's doesn't have any emotional involved in it, just to make sure you're going down the right track. And if your friends or your family is concerned, that's probably another good sign. And so if you are a victim, go to the FBI. They probably won't catch the person, but again, it may provide them with information that allows them to maybe catch that person down the road. So at least report it, and you do have a chance of maybe getting your money back. But if you don't report it, you got no chance.
Well, here's another one, though, and it's really sad, and it's happening a lot. Fake charities. Now, you're solicited by email, phone, and I know most of you all have been, or in person. How about that? To contribute to an organization that sounds like a good cause, but it's actually a scam. Or a friend may share a link on a social media. Such schemes may be general in nature, often using a name very similar to the well-known charity that you know. They may be more targeted, attempting to prey on people who are victims of war because of loneliness and or natural disaster, or known to have a personal interest in a particular disease or social cause. Isn't that sad though? These days, charity scams are also being circulated through social media posts on sites like Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, LinkedIn. Now, how you protect yourself on these before contributing? Research the charity through the Better Business Bureau, and this is how you can do it. Okay, um, let me give you. I want to give you a particular banner. I mean, a particular place that you can go, and it's called the Better Business Bureau Wise Giving Alliance, or Charity Watch, or Charity Navigator. And because there's so many out there, y'all, and there's some good ones, but you really want to check these out that through the Better Business Bureau, and you can find out if they're legitimate or not.
And
So just want to share that.
and if you are an accountant like myself, or you are just so inclined, do some research, look at their financial statements, and always check to see what percentage of the money donated to that charity are actually used for the charity that they represent. And what you want to check is to see what the administrative costs are, because that's how much they spend to run the organization. And what wary of is if they have very high administrative costs, they're that number should not be very high. The actual dollars.
You breaking up, though. Can you tell?
No, I can't tell.
Okay, that's okay. Keep rolling. Ain't nothing we can do about it, but you were breaking up. But you might want to repeat that last bit that you just said.
Yeah, but if you get a chance, try to look at their financial statements and make sure, because you can look at that and see how much of the money donated actually goes to the
Right.
charity. Yeah, so because what you don't want to happen is that they're taking all the money and paying themselves big salaries, and the money's not getting to the intended purpose. So the next one we're going to talk about is social media or investment scams. You know, personal pictures and posts shared on social media give scammers a whole lot of personal information that they can use against you. You know, romance scams we talked about. The FTC is heavily involved in the frauds where they use online shopping. Okay, they offer deals that are too good to be true, and they often start on social media. I don't buy anything off social media, and you place an order for something, the company a lot of times maybe doesn't even exist, or you order something, you don't get exactly what you order, and you get something you didn't order, or you might not get anything at all. And so just try to avoid those kind of things. Try to buy from reputable places. Investment scams can be harder to spot. They hack social media accounts of celebrities to tell people to send cryptocurrency to them with a promise to send double or triple the amount. Just stuff that don't make sense. Nobody's going to give you something for nothing. Okay, just accept that. You haven't won anything. No, you haven't. And so, whenever somebody tries to give you something for nothing, 99 times out of 100, it's a scam. And so you got websites and claims from people for things that aren't realistic. Like, I can guarantee you'll make 14% returns, or this is the next cryptocurrency to go crazy, and invest in this and you can triple your money. Not going to happen. Fake ads. Don't fall prey to those kinds of things.
Though I had a friend call up and ask me about a particular company, a female pastor and a husband, and it was a cryptocurrency that they had actually, and it was so interesting. They were guaranteeing though 15% a week. Now that's the giveaway. They ain't nothing guarantees. First of all, no guarantees in investments, but they were guaranteeing anywhere between 5 and 5, even 5. There's no way anybody can guarantee you 5% a week. That's 20% a month. That's usually a giveaway. And before I go further, I gotta be honest. I gotta confess. I got some shirts online from this Chinese company, man. The shirts were so nice, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. They were nice. I paid for the shirts, man. The ones came back, man. They were 4X extra long. But you know what the real size was? Small, size 29 length. Now my sleeve length is 37, but it said 4 extra tall long. They got me. So this is how you can protect yourself, though, y'all. I'm sorry, I digress. Though I had to get that off my chest, man. Now, how do you protect yourself against these social media and investment scams? Okay, be skeptical of unsolicited offers, first of all, to invest. If something seems too good to be true, guess what? It definitely is. Run away from anyone who claims they can make gains with no risk. There's no such thing. There's no guarantees in the stock market. And verify the source of your emails purporting to be from investment companies. As usual, don't follow links in emails. Instead, look up the company and contact them directly. Instead of clicking on an ad and following the link, look up the company and go directly to the site. And if you consider a company you've never done business before, do a search on the internet for the company name along with the word scam or complaints. And believe it enough, if they were reported to FTC, guess what? It's going to come up. If you're a victim of social media and internet scam, file a complaint with the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center and call your local FBI field office.
The next one is near and dear to me. It's tax refund fraud. That's when they get your information and they file a tax return using your information. And of course, they get a sizable refund. Now, that actually happened to me. And I went to file my return, and the IRS said, "You've already filed." Yes, someone had stolen our identity and filed a tax return. So that's when you got to watch out for. To protect yourself, file your return as soon as you can. Okay. It typically takes until the end of January. By the end of January, you should have all the information you need to file your return. The sooner you file it, that eliminates the amount of time that a fraudster has to file your return. So get it done as soon as you can. If it's returned because someone else has filed, then you have identity theft form 14039 to the IRS, and then you got to go through the FTC. You got to file a police report. It's a nightmare to have that happen. And always remember, the IRS will not ever call you on a phone. They will go through the U.S. Postal Service, and you'll get an official looking document. And you should know what your financial status should be. So you should know, even if you get something in the mail that's not legit, you should know about what your financial situation is. So you should be able to spot it if you get something due the mail. So don't return a call from someone who claims to be from the IRS. It's a fraud. Okay. And you can look at Identity Theft Central for information about tax-related identity theft and data security protection from the IRS. It makes sense to review the identity theft information provided by your state as well. Take the time to do that. Of course, we're telling you, it takes more work because everybody's more sophisticated. So continue to pay your taxes, file your legitimate tax return, although you may have to submit a paper return, which is what I had to do, rather than an electronic one. And you got to attach that form 14039, identity theft affidavit. It's a pain. File as soon as you can. You can't avoid filing your taxes. Get it done as soon as you can.
Yeah, that's real talk, though. Real talk. Though here's another one, man. It's called employment or healthcare fraud. I mean, they just stop. They have no compassion, man. They don't care. A person uses your identity to obtain a job or receive healthcare service. You may get a letter from the IRS after filing the taxes saying that you appear to have unreported income. But check this out. Or in the healthcare version of the scheme, you get a bill for medical exams, procedures, and prescription drugs that you never receive. In still another variation, scammers may try to sell you a fake medical plan or say you need to pay a fee or you will lose your coverage. Now, once again, how to protect yourself. If you suspect you are a victim of taxpayer identity, do what Dope said, Form 14039, Identity Theft Affidavit. Now, never surrender Social Security, Medicare, or health care insurance numbers to anyone you don't know or trust. Now, that may sound very obvious, but we got to say it because people do that. Now, if you believe someone has signed up for for health insurance in your name, call the Health Insurance Marketplace. The call center number is 800-318-2596 and explain the situation. That's called the Health Insurance Marketplace. Okay. Now, if it's Medicare related, you feel somebody has stolen your Medicare information, file a complaint with the Office of the Inspector General in Health and Human Resources. That's the Office, the Inspector General, the Office of the Inspector General in Health and Human Resources. Now, review your medical identity theft checklist on the on the FTC's website for more steps to take. So it's called the Medical Identity Theft Checklist. That's a good one, though. A lot of people don't even think about people stealing your health insurance information.
Yeah, excuse me, but I forgot to mention under the tax, and I think I mentioned this a few shows ago, but that's another scam, is people calling you, saying they're the IRS, telling you you have a refund that you haven't claimed. Okay, that's another dead giveaway. Okay, again, like we said, the IRS will never call you. So if somebody call you saying to the IRS, hang the phone up. That's a very prevalent scam that's going on a lot right now, because people's ears perk up when they hear they have a refund coming, and they just use that to get your personal information. Okay, another scam that's out there, I think this one got my brother, is an unemployment benefit fraud. Somebody applies for unemployment in your name, and if you are unemployed, it could prevent you from actually getting the money that you're entitled to. So, and that happened a lot during COVID, but just as a matter of record, people are doing that, just sending in information. And so you got to hope they don't get your information. That's another reason to keep your personal information very secure. So if it does happen to you, go to the state, notify them that it's a fraudulent claim, report the crime, start a recovery plan, review the identity theft page maintained by your state, and they can tell you more steps to follow. Always file a police report, and consider, you should do this anyway, set up credit monitoring. I think I have mine through Costco, and it's like $10 a month or something like that. And stay abreast of what's going on with your credit. And if you aren't applying for any loans, you should have your credit information frozen anyway, because it doesn't make sense just to have it open. And if you decide to go buy a car, buy a house, or try to open a line of credit, you can unfreeze it with a click on an app or a phone call. So you should keep it frozen anyway.
Yeah, dude. It's so interesting. So interesting. I was teaching inside the Alexandria Detention Center, which is the jail, and these guys are incarcerated. People that are still in their identity, and if they've been in there for several years, obviously they check their uh, uh, information, and they would, a lot of identity stuff happen to incarcerated guys. They come out, they're already behind the eight ball with felonies, and then they have problems, especially with credit card fraud. Now, if someone using your identity signs up for your credit card and racks up large charges, we know about that. Sometimes a stolen identity is used to obtain personal loans or open unauthorized financial accounts. And you'll likely learn about this when the bills are not paid and you're contacted by collection agencies. Now, you notice either you're not getting any postal mail due to fraud or theft, you may start receiving confirmation or decline letters for credit cards or loans that you did not initiate. So, how do you protect yourself? Once again, you gotta report the crime and start a recovery plan. And how you do that is through the FTC, but it's called identitytheft.gov. As simply as that. If you ever have your identity, especially through credit card or any other ways, identitytheft.gov. It's a website. That's the FTC. File a police report. Cannot say that enough. Freeze your credit card and put a fraud alert on your credit reports. Sign up for alerts from your bank or your credit card issuer to stay on top of your legitimate accounts. Please consider that. These are numbers that you can call to find out how to put get a fraud alerts, or like Dope said, freeze your credit. So it's like locking your credit score so nobody can get in on it.
Okay, hey, just kind of wrap it up. You got to practice good cyber habits. Okay, you have to. Your security measures foolproof, and the real slick fraudsters can get through. And me, Bob, anybody could have a moment of inattention or a lapse in judgment, but practicing awareness and taking some basic preventative measures can protect you from the vast majority of the things we're talking about, the type of frauds we're talking about. And so, I mean, if somebody steals your identity, it's a mess. You talk about feeling violated.
Yeah.
Look for those red flags. Don't fall for it's really three major ones. You won something, you owe something, and what's the third one? I can't think of it. You won something, you owe something,
Or
or it's
somebody, go
yeah,
ahead.
relative or something, or somebody
Yeah.
you care to. Those are the three things. And nobody's going to give you something for nothing. And if you owe it, there's nothing they can do about it. Take your time and make sure it's legit. And under no situations give away any of your personal information. Look for those red flags that we've talked about, and especially with the unsolicited emails and phone calls. It's as simple as, if you don't know who's calling, don't even answer it. If you can't recognize it, none of the fraudsters leave a voicemail. They never leave voicemails because most of them are robocalls anyway. And so if make sure it's somebody you trust that you're dealing with.
And reason why me and Dope are so adamant about this show, and we talked about it some before, but we talked about more detail tonight, because it is real, you all. When somebody takes your money, identity theft, it's a nightmare. It is. I know people who went through it, and I'm talking about a year, 2 years to recuperate their money or their property. So the name of the game is, you all, this is how it is. This is the country we live in. You can't stop everyone. You can't just totally stop fraud, but you can prevent it. And that's why me and Dope, like he said, I know we give you more stuff that you have to do, but like we said, and we will always say this, building, and I'm gonna add this, and protecting your wealth, it takes time and effort. And if you work so hard, you all, to do it, it behooves you not to take the time to do these things, because it's real, it's out there, it's the world we live in. It's not nothing for you. Like I said, we've survived bigger storms than this. It's just number of raindrops. So take the time to protect your financial information. Okay, Dope, let's go to the video. Let's sum all of this up, because we once again gave you a lot of information, and we just want to give you some summaries and takeaways from what we talked about tonight. Make sure your deed is safe. Okay? Make sure your deed is safe. Like we said, you can call the registers of your county, wherever you live, the recorder of records, and check on your deed. It's a simple call, or some of those tips we told you about to look out for. You're not getting the water bill anymore. You're getting these letters and things saying you're in foreclosure. Make sure you protect your deed.
And be wary of calls or emails threatening legal action or account closures. One of the good characteristics of a good accountant is something called healthy skepticism. And
I like that.
and when it comes to your personal information and your personal finances and your personal account, you should have some healthy skepticism. Be wary of anything and anybody trying to get access to that information.
File your tax return as early as possible. A lot of people be procrastinating. Oh, I'm getting money back. I don't need to worry about that. First of all, it's your money. The more you have Uncle Sam using your money instead of you, He's using your money, not you. But with the fraud that's going on, and they talking about defunding the IRS, the sooner you get your tax return in, nobody can steal your tax return if it's already filed by you.
And report identity theft, scams, and cybercrime. Let's increase the database of information. Let's help the FBI try to figure out who's doing this, and hopefully they can find a way to stop some of these criminals. And we got one more we got to add and that's number 5. And that's, somebody who's vulnerable to the things we're talking about. Make a point to try to point some of these things out to them. Even if you just tell them about the red flags and things to look for, any information you can give them might save somebody from getting defrauded. If that's a word, or did I just make that word up? Is defraud a word?
But anyway, you know what I think it is.
Y'all know it is.
If it isn't,
try to help somebody who's vulnerable.
Yeah, I think that might be a word though. You do have an MBA, don't you?
My English wasn't always my strong suit.
Them numbers were. So thank you all. Look, shout out to all our viewers. Modestine, thank you for your comments. Modestine said at the end, she said, "Oh wow, we have so much to be vigilant about." Hey, now, thank you. Now said, "Great show. Thank you as always. Now tuning in. We love you so much." Linda, my sister Linda Nolia. What's up, Nolia? Oh, my sister Gloria didn't make it this time. She told me she fell asleep last week, though. She must have fell asleep again. That age catching up with her. But love y'all. I love my sisters for tuning in, supporting their brother, and sharing this information with our nieces and great nieces and nephews. That's what's so interesting. Hey, Carl, what's up? What's up, Carl Chapman? Love you, my brother. And guess who got on? The Note Experience, Rodney Madison Sr. He said, catching the final words of financial wisdom. I'm back. He's been out the city again traveling. Thank you, Rodney. And my man, Jay Drury. What's up? How are you, Jay? Glad to be tuning in. Haven't seen you in a while. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Remember, we're here next week, August the 24th, 8 p.m., The FITT Show. Helping our folks get their finances in shape. We look forward to you tuning in. And look, don't forget, please put comments for other shows you'd like for us to tune into, to look up into, and give you more information. Dope, another great show. Thank you so much. We are a team, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Peace,
have a great evening. Peace, my folks.